that, talking about Bob. And there he goes, stumbling, bumbling. He could go all the way. He could have been America's funniest home videos. One famous stumble occurred when he was flying to, I think, a possible job interview. Getting off the plane, he realized that he forgot his briefcase. Thinking they were going to take off right away, Bob proceeded to run down the passageway back to the plane, carrying his garment bag over his shoulder as he ran. As he approached the plane, he somehow got tripped up, landed on his garment bag, and skidded into the plane. Both knees of his trousers were burned through, but he got his briefcase. Hence, from then on, it became the Skidmore airline incident in their life. And there are many more stories, some of which you might hear today. That gave us a picture of Bob and how he was and how he still is. I'd like to invite a few of the family members to come forward and share their thoughts and hearts as they remember Bob. I'd like to start with Sierra, please.
Thank you, Donnie. Okay. Hello. My name's Sierra Lugo, and Bob is my grandpa. I say is and not was because every part of him lives on in me. The way he led his life has made me the person I am, a good person. Someone who you can depend on, someone who is humble and kind. He was always there to put a smile on my face. I can still hear his very special voice laughing and cracking jokes. When my brother and I were little, we would go over to Grandma and Grandpa's house just to eat and swim. That's it. We're not visiting. We're eating and swimming. That's it. And Grandpa would say he's gonna tie us to a rock and throw us in the deep end, so we better behave. He had the funniest sense of humor. He could light up any room. But above all, he showed me how to love my family, to be faithful and loyal to them, and to work hard every day for their happiness. I will cherish every moment spent with him, from the first time he held me to the very end as I held him, and all of the in-between that now lies only in my memory. I know that I will see you again someday, but until then, I'll carry him with me. I love you, Grandpa.
I'd like to bring Tamara and Tanucci forward, please. And Giovanni, if you want to join her, you can come after.
Trying to get myself together here. Sierra had to go before me. And my son spilled lemonade in my shoes before coming. So, I came in here trying to laugh and have fun with everybody because that is what he wanted, and now I'm trying not to lose it. I wrote this poem, and it was probably the hardest poem I've ever wrote in my life, and I've written a lot of them because of the situation. So I'm going to try to do this without crying. When we are born, we don't understand the concept of time. The minutes turn to hours, the hours to days, the days to weeks, the weeks to months, the months to years. See, time is a cruel thing. When we have a loved one that has nurtured and loved us, there is so much this person would bring. We don't see time or even think about how it exists. We think about these people, especially grandparents. Their life will eternally persist. All the love and nurture, we think they're supposed to be invincible. The thought of the time running out with them seems to be, to us, invisible. I wanted this time to never have an end, for there is just not enough of it, and there is so much I'm still trying to comprehend. So many memories of love, happiness, care, laughter, jokes, and so much more. I wish I had more time. It's not fair. Why time must you go too fast? I close my eyes and I could see you. I hear your voice, your laugh. I feel you there. For there is nothing I thought I could have prepared for. When I was with you, I still thought of myself as that child, still. For this time stood still, and those days and years, I always smiled. I would close my eyes and even being miles away and smile at the thought of you, because putting smiles on people's faces is what you would always do. You always knew how to light up the room, even in the most tense time. With you, nobody was sad because we knew it would be a crime. Yes, you didn't like anyone you loved to be upset or sad. You inspired people to keep on marching on no matter what. Right before realizing time had an end, I remember you calling me, December 14th to be exact, because you were worried about me. And when I told you I was moving forward with my life and not letting anything take me down, because that's what you wanted, and I told you I had a date that night, I was really scared to tell him, because I thought he was gonna give me crap. But I'm still with this person 7 months later, and you were so happy for me, which I was really surprised. That was the last time I heard your voice, and at that time I didn't know that time would stop. Time, that cruel thing. I just remember being so glad to hear you. I always loved hearing you joke, laugh, talk. Memories are always there in my head, and in all our heads of those of us that love you and always will. I did better than I thought, but I am gonna go lose it now. But I did come in here laughing and smiling and being loud, sorry Grandma, because it was my way of coping, because that's how he taught me. And it's hard because when I was in Illinois, this wasn't real to me yet, and now it is. So now I get to grieve. I love all of you.
So, I didn't really write everything. I didn't write anything, Steve. I just decided to say what's on my mind. I remember always looking up to him when I was little. I always wanted to be like him. Now today, I've had people tell me that I look like him. I remember he was always the first person to be up. I would stay up late night, sometimes getting none to sleep, but then I would hear him at 7 in the morning, even though he was up to like 12 watching his crime shows. And I always hear the coffee machine first thing in the morning. I remember if I didn't behave, he'll make me swim with the fishes. And, well, I know some people are sad today, but I'm not going to be, since I know he wouldn't want me to be sad for him. I'm going to choose to be happy for the life he had. I'm going to always love him until the day I see him again.
You can do that. That's good. Gene Ewing, I'd like to invite you to come on down.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jean. I'm Jean, also AKA known as Jean Bean. That's what Bob always called me. And I'll miss his booming, loud voice calling me Jean Bean. Yeah, this is really real now. It seems like I was here for a family reunion. We've been laughing and having a good time, and now this is the reason we're all here and all together. And I just want to say, I'm just being here, I've witnessed the love of all the people I have not seen over the years. We've been separated by distance and kind of by age too. You know, Bob was kind of like a dad to me. He was my dad, our dad died when I was 9 months old, and I was kind of an afterthought, you know. Bob was 18 and Karen was 15, 14. Anyway, I've always said this about life, that the irony of life is that it's lived forward and learned backwards. And we always think there's enough time to do the things we want to do and say the things we want to say to people. And then something happens and we stand there saying, if only. And this is that time, if only. And if only, Bob, if only I would have come to see you in January. I was gonna come, and I didn't, and that's one of my regrets. But I'm gonna read a poem that I really love, and I hope that Bob would like it too. So this is for you, Bob. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. And so another slipping incident was at my wedding. He gave me away, of course, and he slipped on my train at the altar and I think landed in his pew. And another thing I remember, and I know I've talked about this like ad nauseum to my family, I was living in Ohio still, and he came from Arizona for, I think his 30th or 40th class reunion, and they took me to the house that they grew up in Fairborn, Ohio on Green Street. And I never really lived in it. After Dad died, Mom sold the house. And so I had my daughter, she was 6 months old, and Bob said, let's go to Green Street and see if they'll let us in and see the house. And I said, Bob, no, they're not gonna let us in that house. We're total strangers. And they let us in the house. They were just so kind and welcoming, and they let us go. I saw where Bob played his drums in the attic, and I felt like I got a glimpse into, Karen and Bob's childhood. Because if you look at our family videos that our dad took, I'm like at the very end, like waddling down the sidewalk, and I fall and then do this ugly crying face. And that's all there is, but I got to see Karen and Bob, grow up, and it was just a happy time. And I just thought it was so heartwarming to get to go in and see the house where they grew up. And Bob was always smiling. I just always remember him always having that smile. And so I thought, I saw this little quote that keep smiling because life is a beautiful thing and there's so much to smile about. And that's what I think when I think about Bob. And I love you, Bob.
So I'd like to invite Karen and Jody. You'll follow, so get ready. Karen's also Bob's sister, as mentioned. Thank you.
Well, growing up, my brother was 6 years older than me, and I worshiped him, and all the girls would say, "Oh, brother's so handsome, Yeah, he is." And then when I got into high school, they'd always say, "Are you Bobby's sister?" Yes, yes. And I was just always so proud of him, and always looked up to him. And I just wanted to read a little short poem. My only regret is if I had known that the last time I saw you would be the last time I saw you. I would have hugged you a little tighter, told you I loved you a little louder, and stayed by your side a little longer. My mind knows that you're gone, but my heart will never accept it. I miss you so much, and I will always love you. Sorry, that's as much as I could get through.
favorite uncle. I want to say that I've got a lot of the humor and how I live my life from, my encounters and visits with him throughout my childhood. Some of my favorite memories include, when I was probably in elementary school and maybe early middle school, we took some trips through up to Ohio in the summers, and these long car rides back that were 2 days long from Cleveland to Niceville, Florida. And he never missed a beat. He was always funny, and that's one of the things that I always remember of him. There was times where, little stuff he would just mine humor out of, like we're passing some little podunk town in Alabama. It's an exit called Falkville, and he's like, oh look, there's where all the Falkers live. And, he's getting exposed to, I think we were in a McDonald's, and there was some little girl that's pleading with her grandma to let her bring this milkshake in the car, and she's like, I promise, Grandma, I won't steal it. So the rest of the trip, that was kind of the recurring theme, where every time I wanted to bring my drink in the car when we stopped out to get something to eat, you gonna steal it? And I'd be like, oh no, I won't steal it. It was a lot of fun times, and I try to think about a lot of the happy times coming out here. I'm definitely miss him. I can still hear his booming voice, his funny impressions. That was one of the other things, is he was just naturally, he's probably one of the funniest adults I've ever known in my life that wasn't a professional comedian. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget his sense of humor. My daughter asked me recently, what's something that you didn't think about was going to be tough when you were growing up, when you were a kid? And I've really been stewing on that for a long time. Recently she asked me, but I've really been thinking about it. And one of the things that I've been thinking about lately is you get busy as an adult, and sometimes you don't get to see your family as much as you'd like to. You get stuck in your, in your day-to-day routines. So it's just important to make sure you don't forget about family, and you gotta, get out of your routines. And, I wished I could have seen Uncle Bob one more time. And I won't forget you, and I love you. I know you're wherever you are, you're cutting jokes. You're doing something funny, but you're making other people laugh, and we'll always laugh thinking about you.
If that is all for the family part, Terry, please come. It's okay.
I don't have a book, because I can't make a book in my life with my dad. I just remember Dad always there for me. When I was little, I had memories of him watching football with Joe Namath and those old guys and stuff, on the black and white TV, classic football. And I remember always being in the living room with him doing that, just me and Dad. And my brothers were like sissies, I guess, because they didn't like football. And I remember times going boating with Dad and throwing me, well, he didn't throw me, but he put my life jacket on and said, you're gonna learn how to ski today. And I think I was maybe 7 or 8, and I couldn't even swim, but I had the life jacket on. And all I remember is him going, oh, my skis kept going like this, and I was crying. And I remember him going, you're gonna learn how to ski today. I never did, because I was crying too much. And I still can't swim. And I'm trying to think of things with Dad about tripping. When I got married, he thought he was getting married and went, what's the paper that you walk down in the backyard, and he was in the middle and he was tripping me off the paper down the yard, thinking he was getting married. And let's see. And then, I mean, I just have so many memories of Dad. But the hardest part is the last 6 years that he was there for me at the hardest part of my life. When my husband had an accident, and I don't know what caused me to draw to Dad, my dad, because I missed them all those years being married. So for the last 6 years, every day, I would sit with him at the coffee table or the kitchen table, and we'd drink our coffee. Somebody mentioned coffee. I think it was G, his coffee. Well, it got to where he kept saying, Terry, will you make my coffee? So I had to make it. But I remember one memory that was about after Christmas, and I said, Dad, are you okay? And he goes, Terry, I'm fine. If I go tomorrow, I've had the best, blessed life. And I said, are you sure you're okay, Dad? And he goes, Terry, I'm fine. And I remember that. And so I know Dad left, and he went very peacefully, because I remember that day. And he went very happy man. He had a happy life. And I love you, Dad. I can't even say it, of course. You're my life. And I love you so much, and happy Father's Day, Dad. And I'll see you someday. You have fun up there with Jerry and Grandma's and everybody else up there, okay? Because I know you're a blast. I love you, Dad.
Coming to realize how much Bob and I have in common. We both torture our grandkids in the pool. I too take them to the deep end and promise to leave them there. And they hang on to me, Papa, no, Papa, no. Now I know what they're gonna say when my day comes. I truly also love coffee, and I also love old movies, which drives my daughters nuts. Why do you watch those old black and white movies? Just like them. So I'd like to invite Richard Chambers, a very good friend of Bob's, to come forward and share, and then I'd like to open it up after Richard. If anyone else here would like to share, the mic is open for a few moments. Richard?
Thank you very much. Never spoke before one of these before. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I moved here in 1961. My father passed away when I was 6 years old, and my mother moved here with one of her family members. And I ended up in the collection business. And Bob was my biggest competitor from another company. And one day we decided to, with the respect we had for one another, we decided to meet. And we did. And we went into business. And he taught me a lot about the business, because I was never in that end of it. He was for a while. But we became very close friends. And I can't tell you how I feel, but I can understand how everyone else feels. I just think of him every day. We merged our business with another company, and eventually I retired, he retired, but we'd see each other for lunches. We went to the same barber shop. I knew his family, and we were very close. And this was very difficult to hear what had happened to him. But listening to everyone who spoke here before me and spoke about Bob, I can tell you, I feel the same way. And I'm not even a family member. But I wish everyone well, and someday I can meet him. And my wife and I talk about him a lot. We have in the past. And it was just a great part of my life. And I'll never forget it. And thank you.
Hello, my name is Scott, Grandpa. Here for Grandpa, and everybody else was so eloquent. I'm sorry. I guess I don't want to lose it when I say that he was so sweet, such a sweet person. So exactly what Jody said. Life gets going and you need to see your family, and especially the sweet people. And Grandpa was so sweet. And I also had to share, of course, my favorite thing was the dog voices. I'm sorry, Muffy and Missy. Missy's my favorite too. We all love Muffy both, but Missy, really, Grandpa had an F kind of voice for Missy, and it wasn't just we needed to have all these personalities going on because Grandpa was just trying to cheer people up all the time, and so I always remember all the great talent. He was just such a funny person and so lively and lovely, and he wanted everybody to be happy and make life really just experiencing life in such a happier way. So thank you, everybody.
Please, thank you. The goodness of anybody, especially Bob, someone like Bob, is they can make a stranger feel like a friend and a friend feel like family. And I'm hearing that today. Please.
He did, didn't he?
Hello, my name is Joyce. I've known Darlene, but today I know we're celebrating Bob. We love him, but Darlene, you're a big part of this too. I've never seen a couple that had so much love and respect and just caring about each other like you two did. It's wonderful to know you, and Darlene called me one day and she said, Joyce, I'm gonna have a party, and what do you think it'd be fun? And I said, karaoke, So she said, okay, so we had this karaoke party, and all of us were, thinking we could sing. And all of a sudden, Bob picks up the mic, and he started singing My Woman, My Wife. And it was just silence at this big party. No more, it was just beautiful. I never knew you could sing like that. But there was just so much love in the air for him and her and everything, and I've just been proud to say I'm your friend forever, and him too.
Please. Yes. Anybody else? Bob will be missed, but there's a few things Bob will not miss. 150-degree weathers in Phoenix in the summer. The price of gasoline almost going over $7 or $8. And whether or not the Cleveland Browns will ever truly win the Super Bowl. He doesn't worry about that anymore. So.
How you doing? That's the deal. That's the deal. He could imitate a lot of people and a lot of voices and stuff and just drive you crazy. He was funny, just really funny. I'm Gail Hansel, and Bob and I have been friends for more than 20 years. I first met Bob when Dale Reese, my old next door neighbor, brought Bob into our very important Monday night football group. We get together every Monday night for football, and then when we lost interest in the game, we would get together just to laugh and tell stories and enjoy each other's company and giggle, scratch and laugh, and go home. When Bob joined the group, which had been meeting since 1983, there was about 10 or 12 of us guys, but as the years passed and dwindled down, so did the group, and it just left the Musketeers, Bob, Dale, and me. But we were a force to be reckoned with, at least in our own minds. At one point, we needed to change Monday Night Football to Tuesdays. That didn't bother us at all because we were still the Monday Night Football group that met on Tuesdays. Since we were a little older, we told everybody it was easier to bet on the games on Tuesday. All of us would go home and our wives would ask, "Did you have fun? And what did you talk about?" Well, since we were, as I previously mentioned, a little bit older, we would tell them it was too important and we could not reveal any of our secret handshakes and topics of discussion. In other words, we didn't remember. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, and Bob and I hit it off immediately because we were both raised in Ohio, and that made us Buckeyes and brothers. Where was I? To begin with, the Ohio State football and basketball games were topics of discussion, and we were there and thought the teams would place where the teams would place in the national rankings. We also talked about different places in Dayton because I had relatives there, Dayton and New Carlisle and all that area. Been there many times as I was growing up. One of the funniest things Bob told us was a story about his aunt in Cleveland. During family dinners on Sundays, she always sat at the end of the table. Then she wanted someone to pass something, wait a minute here, hang on, pass something such as butter. She would say, "I'll have some butter up my end." That was one of the funniest stories Bob ever told. You can continue that was carry on anyhow. I even laugh about this today at the table all these years later. I always called Bob my Irish friend. With the last name of Antonucci, everybody knew he was definitely not Irish. Bob, I will miss you forever. You were a dear, dear friend. Now, getting back to Dale. Dale couldn't make it because he's on vacation, as he does every year. He goes out of town in the summertime for about 3 months. He's up in Utah. I believe some people were going to Utah here a little bit ago. So this is what Dale wrote. Unfortunately, I'm unable to attend Bob's memorial as badly as I want to. Don't know how many years I knew Bob, but I believe there were some of the best fun times of both of us. We met at Bally's Gym, which is located at 59th Avenue in Peoria, and immediately hit it off. Bob had a great way of explaining how we met in the shower. You can take that one and whirl it around a couple times. In the shower room, but I won't go into details about how hilarious it was. I've heard the story. Not secret, I can't tell. I believe at that time he was working as a collector and salesman for a medical collection company. He was considering buying the business. We discussed this many times because he was in his 50s and making pretty good money. but the urge got to him and he purchased the business. Well, as we all know, it was a bold move and it did pay off. He played golf, we played golf, and hooked up with a couple of other guys every Wednesday at the Peoria Pines Executive Golf Course. Great times. On one occasion we had played, we were standing there on an easy par 3. We put 2 balls each, yes, 8 balls total in the water, ending up laughing so hard that we could hardly continue. I've done that. At that time, we had that guys called Monday Night Football, where we would meet in various homes and eat, and then just generally have a boys' night out, ending up with just three of us, Gail Hansel, Bob, and myself, met for the last 10 years at the Hurricane Grill. Those are another stories. I can't go, that's a secret too. What great times we had there. Don't know how we discussed each week with our wives would ask. I would answer them, I don't know what was said, but we had a great time. We laughed and giggled in about 2 hours, and then we went home. Gosh, I miss those times. Never to be again. Love you, Bob. May you rest in peace.